Nina Williams.
Nina Williams is the cold-hearted blonde bombshell that is so iconic in the Tekken franchise that she has even had her own standalone game. While she is closely tied to the Mishima storyline at times, her individual story has a strong emphasis on the sibling rivalry between Nina and her younger sister, Anna. Her story includes being drugged, cryogenically frozen, and getting amnesia, which to no surprise leaves her personality like a bit of a blank slate. This may not appeal to everyone, but if you're watching this, you're likely drawn to the character for one reason or another, and while you're playing Tekken 7, Nina presents a canvas which allows you to express yourself and play in a way that you enjoy. Nina is a jack of all trades, with a number of tools to cover any situation. She has strong close-range pressure, including tools for frame advantage, and good homing tools to lock down opponents' Z-axis movement. Nina has strong whiff punishment, including her reverse ivory cutter, binding whip, and geyser cannon, resulting in high damage. Speaking of which, she has high combo damage, an insane wall carry, and situationally ridiculous Oki. Not everything can be perfect though, and I believe that to be a sign of a well-made character. As a character with so many options, and at times high execution, it takes a lot of mental stamina to identify the correct tool to place in each situation, meaning her game plan can become quite complicated if you're wanting to optimize your gameplay. It can be challenging to get in against an opponent with good movement and defense, and while she does have some good moves with good range, they do come with inherent risk. Nina's block punishment isn't necessarily bad by any means, but it is below average when compared to a good portion of the cast. As was alluded to before, Nina is a character with a large list of moves, which are all viable if used in the right situation. I'm going to suggest some key moves that I believe to be worth using, however, I want to acknowledge that this is but a foundation to build upon, and it is best to not limit your own options before the game has even started. The first moves we're going to talk about are her jabs. This is inclusive of her 1-2 and down forward plus 1-2, and the extensions that can follow these options. These are some of Nina's fastest options, and the frame advantage on hit, the possible extensions, and the ability to cancel 1-2 and down forward plus 1-2 into a sidestep, and down forward plus 1-2 into a forward sway give you a great place to begin close range pressure. We're fortunate enough to have a safe I11 Magic 4. The term Magic 4 is given to a neutral 4 input that gives you a juggle on counter hit. None are faster than I11, and not all of them are safe. The juggles you can get from her Magic 4 are challenging to execute or inconsistent at certain ranges, depending on the route that you choose. We'll look at those later. This is a strong tool to use to challenge your opponent's approach or pressure, especially if you've gathered information on their patterns and timing. I should mention that downforward 2 is another tool that can be used in a more effective way to challenge an opponent's approach, especially if you anticipate movement but not an attack. This low-hitting swipe is a fantastic poke to allow you to chip away at your opponent's health and pester them into making a rash decision. At negative 12 on block, it is generally not punished too heavily unless the opponent is ready to low parry or evade. Should they block and attempt to punish, the follow-up can catch and counter-hit launch them. Of course, this is a risky decision to make and should be used sparingly. As well as using this move to poke and pester, this move is invaluable in helping you gather information about your opponent's tendencies. I have selected Ray Hands as a key move due to its ability to control the pace of a match. As a relatively fast 2-hitting mid-homing tool, you can use it alongside low attacks to pressure the opponent. It will catch lateral movement and tailspin an opponent trying to use a move to evade your low pokes. A downside to this move is its range, however it can be performed from Nina's down-forward crouch dash to increase the range. The greatest benefit, of course, is to get this move to hit your opponent, as its high frame advantage gives you a free 50-50 between any moves 20 frames or faster, with them not even being able to perform a low parry due to the advantage. The situation on block is also beneficial, as the move has enough pushback for you to bait the opponent to whiff. Also, did I mention how good this tool is near a wall? It's a great option to prevent them from escaping from the wall, can give a wall splat or guaranteed follow-ups on hit near the wall, and can be involved in some of the most damaging wall hits in character-specific matchups. Hellbringer gets a mention for its versatility. Due to its range, frame advantage on hit and block, and the risk of a high damage counter hit launch, this move is a powerful approach tool. It has application to create a frame trap both as the first hit or a follow-up, and then is a remarkable move to be used during juggles for damage, wall carry, and setting up Okizeme. Ivory Cutter is a 2-hitting mid tool that comes out in 15 frames. This move is safe on block and gives you frame advantage with the opponent being forced into a crouching state on hit. This move's situation on hit is remarkably similar to Nina's down back 3 on hit, and thus these tools can be interchanged as a mid and low option to allow you to commence pressure. Ivory Cutter has a low hitting hitbox, meaning it's especially useful against opponents relying on vertical evasion. Ling Xiao Yu. It also causes a bound state on an airborne opponent, which greatly limits the opponent's wake up options. With this in mind, it plays a key role in setting up Okizeme at the wall. Punishment refers to situations where you are guaranteed to hit a move on an opponent due to their actions, such as you blocking a move with enough recovery to make it unsafe, or perhaps a move missing or whiffing, allowing the person to be attacked before they have recovered. Nina's block punishment is generally considered below average, however it is not by any means bad. Please refer to my video series Nina vs the World for character specific punishment. For moves at a -10, she has the option to use her 1-2 jabs into pressure, be it taking the +5 frame advantage, continuing the string, or performing a sidestep cancel. Should you prefer to opt for damage, then she can use her 1-4 string, however this is less rewarding in every other regard. Once you block a move that is -12, she has access to her back 1-4 string, for an amazing 32 damage and +9 frame advantage. The downfalls of this move are that the opponent isn't as close on hit as would be desirable for continuing pressure, and it is unsafe on block, but safety is irrelevant when using a move to block punish. If you're hesitant about if the move is punishable or not, you could choose to use back 2-2 instead for less damage but lower risk. Down forward +1-2 can be used to punish moves that are -13 or greater, however the reward is less than back +1-4. And as such, this option is only recommended if the opponent is recovering in a crouching state and a high move will not work to punish. At -14, Nina has the option of using down forward 3-4 for damage and frame advantage, down forward 3 forward 4 for a knockdown or wall splat, or forward 3 for a knockdown into Okizeme. While forward 3 appears the least rewarding of the three, it has the most range, and there are some situations where this is the wisest or only choice. At -15 or greater, Nina is able to launch the opponent as long as they're in range. With the slower the launcher, the higher the reward you will receive generally. At -15, down forward 2 will launch the opponent. Unfortunately, it does not have the best range and will not launch an opponent recovering in crouch. Quarter circle forward 4-2 can come out in 15 frames to combat these weaknesses, however the execution to do this can be challenging. At -16, you get the much greater range back 1+4. From -18, you can use her binding whip up forward 2-1. And then from -19, you can use her geyser cannon down back 3+4 for huge reward. When blocking a low or a move that forces you into crouch, your punishment options are limited, and you must instead use moves accessible from a crouching state. At -10, your only option is to use a full crouch down +1 for small damage and some frame advantage. At -11, you have a standard while standing 4 to get OK damage and frame advantage. From -13, you have the choice for while standing 1, 1+2, or while standing 3, 1+2. While standing 1, 1+2 gives you a guaranteed 35 damage into knockdown for Okizeme or a wall splat, and is generally the recommended option. While standing 3, 1+2 gives you a guaranteed 25 damage, but forces the opponent to then guess between chain throws, which can gain you more than 50 damage. However, this isn't always guaranteed. At minus 15 or greater, you are able to use while standing 2. Unlike her down forward 2 from standing, this move will launch an opponent in a crouching state and has greater range. For anything minus 18 or greater, the recommended option would be binding whip up forward 2-1. Due to its input, you are able to perform this move from standing or crouching. There are some situations where a move may be quite unsafe on block, however the pushback means standard options will not reach. This may require you to use an option such as Nina's Blonde Bomb, with the input being either forward 1+2 from standing or while standing 1+2 from crouching. This move has exceptional range and comes out in 17 frames. Whiff punishment is a true test for your reactions, and your options will vary greatly depending on the move in which your opponent has whiffed and the range in which it occurs. For example, you're going to struggle to whiff punish a jab or a U-GIF with Nina's 19 frame geyser cannon consistently due to how fast these moves recover on whiff, and you're not going to have any hope of doing so if the opponent is on the other side of the screen. Nina's tools for whiff punishment are exceptional, but sometimes you may just need to whiff punish with jabs or perhaps a down forward 3-4. If you feel confident in your whiff punishment, you can begin to use back 1+4, up forward 2-1 and down back 3+4. Generally, the range of down back 3+4 will allow you to whiff punish a multitude of moves at range, however sometimes you may be held back by its speed. In this case, it may be worthwhile using forward 1+2 instead. Nina's combo variation and executional challenges are often what draw players to trying her out. While it's not the most important aspect of gameplay, it is wise to find your own balance between damage optimization and consistency. There's no point in going for an 80 damage juggle at the risk of dropping it when you could perform a 78 damage juggle with next to no risk in dropping it. That being said, if you enjoy the executional challenge and want to express yourself with a particular juggle, choose to do what will give you the most enjoyment. The standard formula for a juggle in Tekken 7 is launch into filler, into tailspin, into ender. However, the filler and the tailspin can be interchangeable, and the ender may take you to the wall for more hits. While standing 1 is necessary to get the maximum damage in combos, due to the short size of the stages and the likelihood of you reaching a wall before completing a combo, it is actually often suboptimal to use these routes, and you're better to go for fewer hits of higher damage, such as using moves like quarter circle forward 1 or up forward 3. A launcher can be any move giving a juggle on normal hit or counter hit. Examples of these include down forward +2, back +1+4, up forward 2-1, down back 3+4, up back 1, up forward 1, sidestep 2, while standing 2, quarter circle forward 2. Many others on normal hit too. On counter hit, it includes moves such as down 3-2, forward +3, quarter circle forward 1, down back 2, forward 4, up forward 4, and forward +2-1-4, as well as even more. She has a lot, guys. The filler segment is what you do when the opponent is in the air. Successive hits in a juggle push the opponent further away and will lower the damage from each hit from 70 to 50 to 40 to 30. For all successive hits after that, it will be 30, with the only exception being a low hitting move in a wall hit, which will return to 50%. With this in mind, you want to be using higher damage moves early in a combo, such as Nina's up forward 4, up forward 3 and quarter circle forward 1. The tailspin is the use of a move that contains a special property when hitting an airborne opponent. This knocks the opponent away, but leaves them stunned to allow for a follow-up hit. Nina has a number of tailspins at her disposal, but the key ones you will use include while standing 1, 1+2, down 2-3, forward 2-1-4, and down back 2. The ender is your opportunity to use a powerful hit for damage, such as while running 1+2, opt for wall carry to continue a combo, such as quarter circle forward 1 while running 3-4 or quarter circle forward 4-2-3, or choose to go for okizeme, such as using up forward 1 while standing 1 or once again quarter circle forward 1. Should you reach the wall, the opponent can no longer be pushed back from your hits, but will gradually fall down the wall instead. Most of the time, you'll be looking at getting an additional 3 to 4 hits at the wall, which can help you get more damage and threatening Okizeme. Common options include down forward 3-2 into 1+4, down forward 3-2 into forward sway 2, 2 down forward 1-2 1+2, and sidestep 1 into back sway cancel down forward 1-2 1+2. Situationally, you'll be able to get even more than this, such as the impressive double sidestep 1 while standing 4 up forward 3. On some stages, it is possible to cause a wall, balcony or floor to break, and there are key moves Nina can use to allow this. Moves that bound or spike can break a floor, and it is best to get to a wall before doing a floor break, and then use down 3-4-3 as a consistent option. Common wall and balcony break tools include wall running 1+2, down forward 3-2-3, and back 1+2. But choose your option wisely depending on what you hope to do after the wall, balcony or floor break, as the recovery of the move may come into play. Unlike much of the cast, Nina has a rather complete throw game, including throws that must be broken with 1, 2 or 1+2 separately. She also has chain throws with segments that have no visual tell, attacks that go into a throw and hit, and a throw that is unbreakable. 1+3 and 2+4 can be broken by pressing either 1 or 2, as per all generic throws in Tekken 7. 2+4 has extensions that are unbreakable, and there is no disadvantage to performing these. Both of these throws are easily broken and most likely to be used for positional changes due to this. I should note that you can perform each of these with a forward input to greatly increase the range, but slow down the startup in doing so. Down forward 1+3 is a 1 break, and down forward 2+4 is a 2 break. Both knock down the opponent, with down forward 1+3 giving Oki, and down forward 2+4 giving a guaranteed hit with forward 3. Both of these throws maintain positioning if they are broken. Down forward 1 and up forward 1+2 are both 1+2 breaks with situational usage. Down forward 1 knocks the opponent down close to you, allowing you to maintain pressure and will not change your position should they break it. Additionally, it will cause a floor break on the right stages. Up forward 1+2 however can give a big positional change on hit as well as swapping sides if it is broken. This is especially useful for escaping the wall. Unless there is a wall involved, the opponent can tech roll the throw to reduce the damage they receive. Down forward 1 can also be performed from Nina's crouch dash and her forward sway, while up forward 1+2 is able to be performed during her crouch state. Nina has a number of moves that go into chain grabs, including her quarter circle forward 1+2, which is a 2 break, quarter circle forward 3+4, which is a 1 break, while standing 3 1+2 on hit, up forward 3+4 on hit, which is a 2 break, her attack reversal against a 1 jab, and her quarter circle back 1+4, which is unbreakable. While the initial part may be visually identified and broken for some of these, the extensions and chain throws have no visual tell. The quarter circle forward 1+2 and the attack reversal can have a 1, 2 or a 1+2 break follow up initially, but after that it'll be either a 1 or 2 break, each time with no exception. With the exception of quarter circle back 1+4, any option being broken correctly will result in Nina taking damage. Due to the input priority system in Tekken 7, it is possible to perform chain grab follow-ups using inputs that include 1+2+3+4. It's best to still learn the correct extension and be aware that by simply using this method, it'll always result in the one break option coming out. As well as a number of throws that go into her chain grabs, Nina has two moves that, if they connect with a physical hitbox, go into chain throws. This is her leaping heel hold, up forward 3+4, which has to be a clean hit, as well as her spider knee while standing 3 into 1+2, or any extension that goes into spider knee, such as her 1-2-3, down forward 1-2-3, and 2-3. Betrayer, quarter circle back 1+4, is Nina's most threatening throw due to being unbreakable, but it can be challenging to set up due to its poor reach. It is best to use after a move whiffs due to Nina's backsway, or as part of Okizeme. If you stop after the initial throw, you will have good frame advantage and can frame trap the opponent. Otherwise, you can choose to continue the chain throw route and not risk receiving damage if they break it. Okizeme, or ground game, refers to the mind games played once you have knocked an opponent to the ground. This may be after a single hit such as down back 2 or forward +3, or maybe after a juggle, be it at the wall or mid-screen. Nina's Okizeme is able to overwhelm the opponent, especially near the wall. Discussing each individual situation could take hours and hours, and so this section will have to focus on the theory behind Okizeme and a few key situations. I encourage you to explore your options and test for yourself what may be available. When your opponent is knocked to the ground, they have many options they can perform, from back rolling, teching left or right, doing a get up attack, or even just staying on the ground. It's important to observe what your opponent chooses to do and look for patterns and habits. Additionally, you can use some moves to limit your opponent's wake up options, such as a move that causes a bound, like 1+4, or a spike, like up forward +1. While ending a combo in while standing 1 does not limit the opponent's wake up options, it does allow for a threatening tech catch if you believe they will tech roll on wake up. If they tech left, it is possible for you to swap sides and cross up the opponent using a well-timed quarter circle forward +4-2. If they tech right, it's possible for Nina's wipe the floor down forward 4 to hit in a manner where it can convert for a full juggle. This same situation can be performed after a down back 2 knocks down the opponent also, and many other. Many moves that knock down also provide enough advantage for Nina to dash in and perform a down +2, which will hit them grounded, evade a spring kick, beat get up kicks, and not be possible to low parry, leaving the opponent having to stand and block low to avoid the situation. This can then be swapped in for a dash into an instant while standing 1 or while standing 2, which will not hit grounded but still cover other options, with them needing to stand and block mid or stay grounded to avoid them. At the wall, Nina's Okizeme becomes even more threatening. The most well-known situation is after doing a wall hit ending in a bound, such as either 1+4 or down 3-4-3. From there, the opponent can only quick back rise and will be forced to guess the follow-up. Mids such as quarter circle forward 2 and forward 1+2 are safe, ground hitting tools, which will grant you another wall hit should they stand and get hit. Down back 3, down 2 and down 3+4 are lows that will hit grounded and can be used if the opponent is afraid of the mid options, as they should be. It is common for wall hits to end in blonde bomb, either forward 1+2 or down forward 1-2 1+2. After this, Nina's down forward 1+2 will beat aggressive options or anything except them staying grounded or a toe kick. Depending on what they do, this will either wall splat on hit or spin them away and guarantee a free up back +1, thanks to the wall reducing the pushback. Another threatening option is ending in a wall hit with down forward 1 or while standing 1. If set up properly, you can perform a cross up when they tick left or right, but perhaps more importantly, this is a threatening option as it can set up a tech catch into Betrayer or allow you to do a charged forward 1+2 during her backsway. This will cover her other options, leave you at +8 on block, or potentially even get a wall bounce and be able to reset the situation. To define a game plan in Tekken 7 for players to follow is to encourage players to develop habits. Good or bad, it is important to play this game in a manner that suits your own strengths as well as the characters. This is a big part why top players cannot always just select a top tier and win everything with ease. Your game plan needs to be forever developing and unfolding as you analyse the opponent and their character that you're versing, as they will be aiming to do the same with you and your character. There are character-specific tidbits that can help you strengthen your game plan, such as defensive tactics including punishment, movement, and familiarity with key moves and setups the character may have, and this will help you develop a starting point and a stronger defense against certain characters. You also need to know your own character's weaknesses and what you should and shouldn't risk in the match. For example, using Nina's Blonde Bomb excessively against a character with a 14 frame launcher is much riskier than using it against a character who cannot launch punish it. Many people fall victim to the belief that Nina is a string heavy character and that the way to play her is to constantly be pressing buttons. In reality, the strings that many people struggle to verse have clear weaknesses, and constantly pressing buttons is going to leave you open to being counter hit, evaded, and whiff punished. This is not a playstyle that will take you very far. Some strings do have a place in the game, as knowledge checks or in unique situations, and the rushdown pressure needs to be calculated to be effective. Nina's most threatening tools are only accessible at closer ranges, and this suggests to us that if the opponent gives you the opportunity, you generally want to be at a closer range. That being said, most characters have stronger and more tools that they can use when they're up close. So your goal should not just be to get close, but it should be to get close with advantage so that your options can be used and are more effective than theirs. If this isn't achievable, it could be best to just poke, pester and keep your distance, aiming to keep around the tip of your key moves or your opponent's key moves to try and bait a whiff that you can effectively whiff punish. If you're versing an opponent and character where it does appear worthwhile to stay close to the opponent, this is where your strategy wants to revolve around staying close, pressuring your opponent, and sticking to them like glue. The best defensive measure to deal with such a tactic in Tekken 7 is to backdash, and that may be applicable to you in many situations as well. But with that in mind, don't threat if your opponent does get away through backdashing. Take the opportunity to pressure them toward a wall until they can no longer rely on a backdash to get away from you. Once again, to demonstrate the continual flow of a match, even if staying close and pressuring the opponent is effective, it isn't always wise. Nina struggles to approach, but has alright tools to keep away and whiff punish. If you establish a life lead, it's not always wise to continue working hard for more damage. Keep your distance and let your opponent struggle to approach you. As they say, work smarter, not harder. So I guess I'd have to say, my key points in developing a strong gameplay with Nina, or in Tekken 7 in general, are as follows. Avoid patterns. Let your game plan further develop and flow based on your opponent's tendencies. Look for character-specific information to help determine your game plan, be it punishment options, theirs and yours, defensive tools, such as avoiding common mix-ups, and a general idea of their main game plan. Find the range or ranges that are most suitable for you to stay around during the match. Generally for Nina, this is as close as possible, and then around the tip range of Geyser Cannon, but it could be best to instead be around the tip range of an opponent's key move, such as Jin's forward 4 or Geese's forward 1+2. Choose your moments between rushing down your opponent and playing defensive. The game isn't about getting more hits than your opponent, it's about depleting their health bar first. As execution is such a common conversation topic with Nina, I feel like this demands its own section, albeit it's still heavily condensed. Please check out my other videos for more in-depth discussions on how to perform these moves and some suggested applications. Instant While Standing 1, or Fluttering Butterfly, is an invaluable tool if you want to optimize your combos and get the best wall carry Nina can achieve. There are multiple ways to perform this move, and there's no secret best way to do it. First off, I want to mention that this will only work in combos when Nina is off axis to the right. Also, once you're familiar with it, you'll realise that there's actually much more time than you realise to input the move and allow it to link in a combo. This is not a just frame. The fastest possible input is down, forward, neutral, +1. All three of these inputs must register for this to work. This means that you cannot start performing it while Nina is still in a form of recovery. You can also perform this as down, down, forward, forward, neutral, +1. The key parts here being once again that all of the inputs register. If you get a jab, it means that the down input was likely performed too early. If you get a quarter circle forward 1, it means you've pressed the 1 button too early. Once again, depending on preference, you can also use another input in place of the neutral to allow this to work. Most commonly, people use up forward as it allows you to roll the directional buttons in a circular motion from down to up forward in a single motion. With this method, you have the same way to tell if you're performing it correctly as above. If you get an up forward +1, it means you've started the input while still in recovery. If you get a quarter circle forward +1, it means you've pressed the 1 button too early. And if you get a jab, it means that you've started the input while still in recovery and you've pressed the 1 button too early. If you're having trouble getting a feel for the timing of successive instant while standing ones, it is possible to use empty inputs to help cue yourself to do it correctly. Some people suggest doing a half circle forward instead of a quarter circle forward, allowing the back and down back inputs to be performed during the end of Nina's recovery. Likewise, you could look for a visual cue with Nina's position of the move, such as to begin as soon as seeing as her hand reaches a certain stage. Or, you could practice the timing using a metronome. I hear 80 beats per minute is a good tempo to follow. Sidestep 1 cancels, or snake shot cancels, are another commonly discussed high execution tool. The move itself has especially short range, so it can be hard to use in a match, but if you can set it up, it gives you ridiculous frame advantage both on hit and block. We're only going to talk about the sidestep 1 back cancels, as they're the executionally demanding part. Sidestep 1 back is +10 guard on block and +23 guard on hit, but you are stuck in a back sway with slightly different input options, opposed to a standard back sway at least. Thankfully, you can cancel the back sway with a single input, either an up back or an up. Either option gives you the same frame advantage, taking a single frame to cancel and then another frame to perform your attack, meaning you can be +8 on block when you attack or +21 on hit when you attack at the best, with either the up back or the up cancel method. The real difference between the two is that the up back method gives you access to typical standing moves, while the up method gives you access to ones you can only perform during a sidestep. In reality, this means that the up method won't allow you to perform a neutral 2, a neutral 4, or, well, that's it, because you can perform a neutral 1 by pressing forward +1. It will, however, allow you to perform a sidestep 1, sidestep 2, sidestep 4, and a sidestep 1+2 if you want. It can be challenging to tell if you're cancelling this effectively or not. Thankfully, a bit of ignorance in the practice mode data can help us. If you set the opponent to stand and not block at all, doing sidestep 1 back cancel into another move will register as a combo, even though it isn't really a combo. As we know, this is +23 guard on hit and it takes 2 frames to perform an attack. Any move that is 21 frames or faster will register as a combo if you're doing it correctly. You could start by trying to do a sidestep 1 into a 15 frame move like down forward 2. Once you've got that registering as a combo, move on to a 16 frame move like down forward 1+2. Continue on to the 18 frame back +3, and then finally attempt a 20 frame down back 3. If you get that to register as a combo, you're either doing a just frame or you're only a single frame off. Nice work. Hayashida Step is a movement tool named after a Japanese player back in Tekken Tag Tournament 1. It is a method of chaining successive backsways together through cancels, typically by sidestepping up. This provides amazing evasion while also creating distance between you and your opponent. It is quite closely compared to the Korean backdash cancelling, however, you trade the ability to block mids while moving backwards for being able to evade many mids and generally getting an upward movement. The upward movement isn't necessary, but good luck performing a linear Hayashida Step consistently. The trick here comes down to good execution and timing. Typically, this is performed as down, down back, back, neutral, up. The down, down back, back is the backsway motion, and the up is cancelling the backsway into a sidestep. With this in mind, the duration that you're in neutral for determines how long the backsway is active. If you cancel the backsway instantly, you're not going to evade many moves, and you're not going to get very far. If you hold the neutral too long, then you're leaving yourself vulnerable for longer than is desirable, and once again, not going to get very far. At least, not as quickly as you may want. Once again, there is no magic trick. Not that I'm aware of, at least. This comes down to repetition and practice. If you're looking for a visual cue to help with your timing, I generally look at how low Nina has bobbed down to figure out the timing for cancelling the backsway. And once she has reached her lowest point, I cancel it. There's a good chance that some of you have opened this video and skipped straight to this section for guidance on how to verse Nina instead of looking at the guide for how to use the character. That's totally okay. As a character with a large number of tools and not really having a well-defined set of key moves, versing her can be quite frustrating, and this is why many people have categorized her as a lab character. I strongly encourage you to learn the block punishment options against Nina, as well as ways to handle her strings. We'll talk about some particular strings in this section. As per the About the Character section of this guide, Nina struggles to approach, and typically is most threatening up close. Even using jabs on approach can be rather effective in shutting her down. With this in mind, you can keep your distance, outspace, and make Nina have to play into her weakness of approach for the entire game. This also includes backdashing a lot of her pressure. If you have a good backdash, you can effectively negate a lot of her mix-up situations. It's generally agreed that Nina is weak to her left side, and has trouble with the opponent sidestepping to the right. Remember that this is not always the case, and she even has some good application fully homing tools such as down forward 1+2 and back +2-2. As her goal is often to get you to the wall, I would encourage you to instead try and step in the direction of positional advantage to continue maintaining your distance from her and not get cornered. If you're getting overwhelmed by her strings, be aware that all of them have inherent weaknesses. Some even have bugs, down 4-1 sidestep cancel. Every extension to down forward 3 is a high, and while the timing may vary, you can duck and punish every one of them. There is a single exception with down forward 3-3-3, but this is a non-delayable block string, meaning attempting to duck is still no risk in this situation. Easy prey, or down 3-4-3, has the second hit also being a high, but this can be mixed up with an unsafe launching mid. You're best to block here and instead counter the final hit. This can be step to the left and right for many characters, and step to the right for every character except for the bears. Can opener, or up forward 4-3-4, is a high, low, high, with the last two hits being a natural combo. Thankfully, the first hit is a visual tell with no mix-up afterward, and gives you 36 frames to react to the low to either duck or low parry. The final hit can be sidestep cancelled, making your punishment much less rewarding. Also, on hit, it can make sidestep 1 uninterruptible. Your best option is to low parry the low in this string. Lastly, Nina's Oki can be overwhelming, as I showed in section 6. There's no simple answer for what beats her Oki, but I can give you some strong pointers. As long as you're not knocked down in a face down feet away position, waking up backward can really limit her options. Also, while she has scary setups on tech rolls, like her cross-up tech, this can be beaten by neutral guarding. With this in mind, you can tech roll left, then neutral guard to cover this. It also can allow you to escape from the wall unscathed after some wall hits. And this is the end of my Nina Williams character guide. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've found benefit from this video. While some people may have learned a lot, others may not have learned too much. Unfortunately for all of you, I have to say this is just the tip of the iceberg. Please go out there, talk to your friends, get involved in your community, and look for resources to learn as much as you can. Share what you find, and learn from others as well. And most importantly, make sure you're enjoying the game. Thank you very much everyone, I'm a Friendly Tree, and I'll catch you next time.